while we're on different types of funds, let's have a quick chat about VCTs. Now, the last budget, there were a few moving parts affecting VCTs. Can you talk us through that and what the future of your three VCTs looks like?
Yeah, I mean the whole everybody was bracing themselves for the last autumn budget. Yeah. So and we sort of watched with interest and we saw actually a number of features going on within the autumn budget that was specific to our part of the market, not just the VCTs. So you had a sort of commitment by the government towards British Business Bank. British Business Bank, really important partner to us, but a really important provider of capital across the UK. Yeah. So that's great to hear that sort of solid support. So that was the first positive thing we got out of that. And then they've got, back to what we manage, which is the Enterprise Investment Scheme, Venture Capital Trust. So two distinct products. Now, EIS has got a structure which encourages capital growth. So it's to encourage individuals to put money into younger businesses to grow those and benefit from a capital gain basis that is tax-free. And so it's risk, but there's a reward. Mm-hmm. And one of the challenges across both EIS and VCT is you've got these young businesses growing, and the rules that were set up were years ago. So now how much a young business needs to requires during venture growth is great. It's just much, much more. And yet you had a cap on how much you could put per annum and how much in total you can invest into these businesses. Right. And they changed the rule. That was, I think, a really important point, is they changed the rules so you can double the amount. You put 20 million per annum into these businesses, and now you can double the amount of the business life to 40 million. That's really important, and that's a great thing for EIS. And for EIS, that's what they did. There's no other changes. For VCTs, the investors in VCTs benefit also from tax-free dividends. That's right. Okay? So there's an additional benefit that EIS don't have. And so the government made the case and argued that we're going to lower the income tax benefit for investors in VCTs from 30% to 20% because they benefit from tax-free dividends. Now, you can argue whether that's valid or not, but that's the logic behind it. For us, we can now support businesses with more capital per annum and in total. So what that meant for us is that we went back out to the market. We were in the market raising 50 million, and the VCT boards have basically decided to increase that amount so that we can take advantage of these changing rules coming through and deploy more capital. Our take on these changes is firstly beneficial for investees, very good for investees. And secondly, it will create some turmoil in the VCT industry. And the reason why I say it will create some turmoil in the VCT industry is that not all VCT funds out there have the capital to be able to put 10, 20 million into an invested per annum. If you're raising 5, 8 million in a year, that rule doesn't help you. But you have the negative slant of the 30% to 20%. Gotcha. So our expectation is for the larger VCT operators, which we are one of them, this in the long term will be a positive change. But for the smaller operators, I think they'll struggle, actually. And so that's a concern because, I actually quite like competition. I like other managers operating in the market. And so that is a tangential concern. But from Mercia's perspective, it's a wholly positive way forwards. Yeah.
And interesting, the dilution of that tax sweetener did not impact your recent fundraising. I mean, you increased it.
Yeah. And the way the announcements come through is basically until the end of this tax year, so 4th of April, you still benefit from the 30% income tax relief. Then after that, it's down to the 20%. Yeah. And what we're awaiting is the Finance Act to come through later on in this year, where the rules will change and you can deploy more. So if you raise money in the next tax year, you're raising it on the 20% revised regime, whereas if you raise it now, it's on the 30%.
Got you. Okay.
So there is a strong logic to raising more money now to the retail investors' benefit and taking advantage of the rules going forwards post that change. So I think that there's a strong logic for us. I expect next year there's going to be some changes in the industry, assuming the regimes stay static as they are now, because it's just there is a different logic into which manager would raise money. I also think it's still track record driven. I'm very proud of what the VCT team have done and the boards have done in their support in terms of the track record of delivery for our investors in those VCTs. So track record will be at the heart of any fundraise, as it quite rightly should be.